Chapter 3. We woke early, shivering and coated with dust that had blown up through the knot holes and in through the slits around the doorway. During the night, Mama had unpacked all our clothes and heaped them on our beds for warmth. Now our cubicle looked as if a great laundry bag had exploded and then had sprayed with fine dust. A skin of sand covered the floor. I looked over Mama's shoulder at Kyo on top of his fat mattress, buried under jeans and overcoats and sweaters. His eyebrows were gray, and he was starting to giggle. He was looking at me, at my gray eyebrows and coated hair, and pretty soon we were both giggling. I looked at Mama's face to see if she thought Kyo was funny. She lay very still next to me on our mattress, her eyes scanning everything. Bare rafters, walls, dusty kids, scanning slowly. And I think the mask of her face would have cracked had not Woody's voice just then came out at us through the walls. He was rapping on the planks as if testing to see if they were hollowed. Hey, he yelled, you guys fall into the same flour barrel as us? No, Kyo yelled back. Ours is full of Japs. All of us laughed at this. Well, tell him it's time to get up, Woody said. If we're going to live in this place, we better get to work. He gave us 10 minutes to dress and then came in carrying a broom and hammer and a sack full of tin can lids he had scrounged somewhere. Woody would be our leader for a while now, short, stocky, grinning behind his mustache. He had just turned 24. In later years, he would tour the country with Mr. Moto, a Japanese tag team wrestler, and his sinister assistant, Shiko, karate chop through the ropes from outside the ring. A chunky leg reached from under his kimono to trip up Mr. Moto's foe in the ring. Woody's smile looked sly and crafty. He hammed it up. Offstage, he was whimsical, as if some joke were bursting to be told. Hey, Brother Ray, Kyo, he said, you see those tin can lids? Yeah, the boy said drowsily as if going back to sleep. They were both young versions of Woody. You see all those knot holes in the floor and in the walls? They looked around. You could see about a dozen. Woody said, you get those covered up before breakfast time. Any more sand comes in here through one of them knot holes, and you'll eat it off the floor with ketchup. What about the sand that comes through the cracks? Kyoto said. Woody stood up very straight, which in itself was funny, since he was only about 5'6". Don't you worry about the cracks, he said. Different kind of sand comes through the cracks. He put his hand on his hips and gave Kyo a sternly comic look, squinting at him through one eye the way Papa would when he was asserting his authority. Woody mimicking Papa's voice. And I can tell the difference, so be careful. The boys laughed and went to work, nailing lids down. May started sweeping out the sand. I was helping Mama fold the clothes we'd used for cover when Woody came over and put his arms around her shoulders. He was short, and she was even shorter, under 5 feet. He said softly, you okay, Mama? She didn't look at him. She just kept folding clothes and said, can you get the cracks covered too, Woody? Outside, the sky was clear, but icy gusts of wind were buffeting our barracks every few minutes, sending fresh dust puffs up through the floorboards. May's broom could barely keep up with it, and our oil heater could scarcely hold its own against the draft. We'll get the holes placed as tight as a barrel, Mama. I already met a guy who told me where they pile all the scrapped lumber. Scrap? That's all they got. I mean, they're still building the camp, 16 blocks left to go. After that, they say maybe they'll get some stuff to fix the insides a little bit. Her eyes blazed then, her voice quite furious. Woody, we can't live like this. Animals live like this. It was hard to get Woody down. He'd kept smiling when everybody else was ready to explode. Grief flickered in his eyes. He blinked it away and hugged her tightly. We'll make it better, Mama. You watch. We could hear voices in other cubicles now. Beyond the wall, Woody's baby girl started to cry. I have to go over to the kitchen, he said. See if those guys got a pot for heating bottles. The oil stove takes too long. Something's wrong with the fuel line. I'll find out what they're giving us for breakfast. Probably hot cakes with soy sauce, Kyoto said, on his hands and knees between the bunks. No, Woody grinned, heading out the door. Rice with log cabin syrup and melted butter.